In the golden city of Ayodhya, everything is perfect. A kingdom is ready to celebrate, a beloved prince is about to become king. But in the shadows, a promise, one made from love, is about to be twisted into a weapon. So, what's the real price of a king's word? And is it enough to shatter a kingdom, a family, and a future? Let's dive in.
It all starts with just a whisper. "Mother, Rama's fame is growing," she says. "Shouldn't Bharata get the throne?" The woman speaking is Manthara, servant to Queen Kaikeyi. And those words, they're like seeds of a tragedy. It's a question that isn't really looking for an answer. It's designed to plant a single drop of poison right in the queen's ear.
So, picture this. Ayodhya is absolutely electric with joy. People are getting ready for the coronation of their hero, Prince Rama. But while the whole city is celebrating out in the open, a conspiracy is starting to grow in the dark, one fueled by jealousy and, well, fear. And one person's whisper is about to completely silence an entire kingdom's cheers.
All right, to really get how this all went so wrong so fast, we need to look closer at where this poison came from, the woman who mixed it, and the queen who was about to drink every last drop.
See, Manthara wasn't just any servant. She had been with Kaikeyi for 35 years, serving her, yes, but also loving her like a mother. She was way more than a confidant. She was this maternal figure who'd been there since the queen was born. And it's this incredibly deep bond that makes her words so powerful, turning what could have been simple court gossip into what sounds like a mother's desperate plea for her own child's future.
The thing is, the poison Manthara uses, you won't find it in a bottle. It's a carefully crafted mix of words, a little bit of fear, a dash of ambition, and a whole lot of jealousy. She paints this terrifying picture for Kaikeyi, where Rama becoming king means her own son Bharata will be ruined. She turns a day of joy into a vision of total doom. It just goes to show you the most dangerous poisons are the ideas we let into our own heads.
With that poison now running through Kaikeyi's mind, her love for Rama twisting into this dark obsession, Manthara switches gears from manipulation to pure strategy. She reminds the queen about this incredible weapon she's had tucked away for years. 2 boons, 2 unbreakable promises given to her by King Dasharath himself, long after she saved his life on the battlefield.
Now, what's really fascinating here is just how cold and calculated this is. This isn't some emotional outburst. It is a 3-step psychological attack. Step 1, go to the chamber of anger. Step 2, strip off your jewels, wear dirty clothes, show complete and utter despair. And then, step 3, when the king is at his most vulnerable, worried sick about his favorite wife, that's when you strike. You demand he make good on his promise.
And wow, does it work! When King Dasharath finds his beloved queen like this, he's completely distraught. Totally blinded by love, he swears he will give her absolutely anything she wants. And that is when the trap springs shut. Kaikeyi, no longer a loving mother but a furious queen, makes 2 devastating demands. First, her son Bharata must be crowned king. And second, Rama must be exiled to the forest.
The king is just shattered. The promise he made, which was once a symbol of his love for her, has just become the very thing that will destroy him. What happens next is a night of pure agony, a fight between a father's love and a king's honor.
I mean, just look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the king, totally broken. He's weeping, he's pleading, he keeps collapsing, but he just cannot go back on his word. And on the other side, his son, Rama. When he's told what's happened, there's no anger, no argument, just this quiet, unshakable acceptance. For him, what matters most is his dharma, his duty. And that means honoring his father's promise no matter what it costs him personally.
And the sentence is so specific. Exile for 14 years. And trust me, that number is not random. It comes with some devastating political consequences.
So why 14 years? Because back then, the rule was if a royal was gone from the kingdom for that long, they lost all claim to the throne. It was, for all intents and purposes, a political death sentence. Manthara and Kaikeyi weren't just trying to get Rama out of the way for a little while. They were trying to erase him from the line of succession for good.
And it is this moment, right here, this selfless act of giving up a kingdom just to protect his father's honor, that really cements Rama's title as Maryada Purushottama, the ideal man, someone who puts duty and righteousness above everything, even his own life.
With Rama's calm acceptance, the kingdom's fate is sealed.
All those joyful preparations for a coronation, they're replaced by the sorrowful, heartbreaking preparations for a journey into exile.
In the middle of all his grief, King Dasharatha has this terrible flashback. He remembers a curse from long ago, when he accidentally killed a young boy. The boy's blind father, dying from sorrow, cursed Dasharatha to suffer the exact same fate. And now, the king sees it. This isn't just about palace politics. This is his own tragic destiny, coming to collect.
And so Rama, along with his devoted wife Sita and his loyal brother Lakshmana, leaves Ayodhya. They literally walk away from a throne, a palace, and a father who will soon die from a broken heart. The Golden City is suddenly plunged into a cold, blue-gray tragedy.
Now this is usually where the story ends, right? A good son, a weak king, and an evil servant. But what if it's just too simple? What if the character we've all been taught as the villain was never really the one pulling the strings? Let's try looking at this whole tragedy through a completely different lens.
We're going to take another look at the supposed villain Manthara. But to do that, we need to step outside of the story for a second and into a modern way of thinking that asks some really tough questions about power, gender, and the body. It's a field called feminist disability studies.
Okay, so what is that exactly? Put simply, it's a way of looking at how society treats people, especially women, who have disabilities. It pushes back against that ancient idea we see in stories all the time, that if someone's body is different or non-normative, it must be a sign that their character is twisted or evil on the inside.
And this is the key idea right here, double marginalization. Manthara isn't just a woman in a man's world. She is a disabled woman. So she faces pressure from two sides, for her gender and for a physical difference. That basically puts her at the absolute bottom of the social ladder.
So let's apply this thinking to Manthara. How is she always described? Ugly, poor, and hunchbacked. Her physical body is basically shorthand for moral corruption. But now, think about it politically. When a powerful royal family implodes, who's the easiest person to blame? The powerful Queen Kaikeyi, the beloved King Dasharatha, or the old, poor, disabled servant woman who has nobody to defend her? She is the absolute perfect scapegoat.
Modern retellings of the story, like this one, really dig into this idea. This quote just says it bluntly. Manthara's status as an outsider makes her the perfect person to take the fall for the ambitions and failures of the powerful. So the question this point of view makes us ask is, did she really start all this, or was she just the most convenient person to blame when it all fell apart?
So now we have two ways of seeing the same event. There's the classic story of a villain's evil whisper, and then there's this modern rereading of a marginalized woman who becomes a scapegoat. What does this tell us about how stories work, and maybe more importantly, who they work for? In the end, the story of Rama's exile isn't just about a promise. It's about power, it's about perspective, and it's about whose version of the truth gets to become the truth. When we hear these epic tales, it's always worth asking, who is this story really serving? Whose actions get justified and whose get condemned? And which characters, maybe like the old hunchbacked servant, are left completely voiceless in the shadows, their real motivations and their humanity boiled down to a simple cartoon of evil? The answer tells us just as much about ourselves as it does about the story.